Hello, I welcome you back to my space. I am Amarachi Okereke, and Amiable Counsel is a platform where we talk about life, relationship, marriage matters. And last week we understood what knowing your worth entails. And I remember saying in my last video that self-worth comes from within and it involves accepting yourself and loving yourself the way you are, okay, with your strengths and your weaknesses, your successes and your failures, embracing yourself without judgment. Okay, so this week, that is the part two for this series, is about identifying your values, identifying your strengths, identifying your weaknesses. So that is the aim of the video today. So if you are a new person, I welcome you. Please don't forget to subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, I appreciate your presence here, okay? And don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like this video. So let's go right into it. So today we are talking about identifying your values, your strengths, and your weaknesses. And we're going to be handling four areas. So the first is identifying your individual values. The second area is understanding your personality. That is identifying your strengths, identifying your weaknesses, and understanding your emotions. Okay, then the part three, the third part today is how to practice positive affirmation, and the last is saying no to negative upward comparison. I will explain what upward comparison is when we get there. So the first thing is identifying individual values. Understanding yourself is very essential, and one of the ways is for you to identify your individual values. Now, what are these individual values? We're talking about personal principles, personal beliefs, and standards that guide a person's behavior. Personal principles, personal beliefs, personal standards that guides a person's behavior. It guides your behavior, it guides your decision making, and also the life choices that you make. It influences how you perceive the world, how you interact with others, and also how you pursue your goals when you set them. So we're talking about the values that you have about yourself, about life, in general. Now, values, they act as a compass. I don't know if you remember those days in secondary school when you have your pencil and your compass. You put the compass, the compass directs, determines the shape and the direction that the pencil goes. That is the same thing with your values. It acts as a compass. It guides your action, it guides your inaction, it guides your decisions. The decision that you make about yourself, about your family, about your life is based on your values. And now they help you to determine what is right and wrong, because if you hold a particular thing as in high esteem, let's just say you value a particular trait or whatever, you will not want to do anything that goes against your values. You will not want to do anything that goes against what you hold in high esteem. Okay, and it helps you to determine what is right and wrong. It helps you to determine what matters the most, what is important, and it also helps help you understand how best you want to live your life. Now, your values are closely tied with your sense of self. That's why we said is know your worth, and what is attached to know your worth is what? Identifying your individual values. The way you see yourself is also affected by the kind of values you uphold as an individual. Okay, so it reflects who you are, what you stand for, and who you aspire to be. Now, there's something that I want you to understand, and that is that these values that we're talking about, there are many things that can shape it. There are many things that can determine your value as a person. Now, it could be family, it could be experiences, it could be certain things that you saw in your home, maybe while growing up as a child. You say, you see this one, I don't think I want to uphold this as a value. Or you see this particular thing my mom used to do, I will continue in that, or I will continue doing what she has taught me to do. You know, now family can influence it, experiences. There are some things you see in this life You tell yourself, you see this route, I'm not going down this route. You see this particular decision, I will never make it in my life. Or you see honesty, I will not tamper with it. So family experiences, personal reflection, you sit down and analyze things, they play significant roles in determining one's value. That is one thing I want you to understand. And most times you should understand that what you do is being influenced by the values you uphold. Let me explain. If you are being called, maybe by a friend or a colleague, let's go do this, let's carry out this activity, let's go and purchase this contract, let's go for this particular event, your values will determine your action. So you should understand that what you do in life is also in line with what you value. A person can tell what you value based on how you behave, based on the decisions you make, based on how you make those decisions. So one of the very important things about knowing your worth is being able to identify your values, uphold it, and stand by it. So that aside, when you've identified your individual values, now, okay, before then, let me give you examples of values. Your value could be honesty, it could be integrity, it could be kindness, it could be responsibility, it could be growth, it could be ambition, it could be respect. Okay, now if you value honesty, you won't be seen going around telling lies, and you will be offended if you are lied to. If you value honesty, people can trust you with certain things because they know that there will be transparency in what you do. If you value growth, at every opportunity you have to improve yourself, you will take it, even if it will cost you resources. You won't mind because it's something that you value. Okay, so that is just an example and insight to, you know, certain values that individuals uphold. I just had to put that out there so that you understand and have an idea. You know, this is not a training. If it's training now, I will start breaking everything down. This is a video and I don't want it to be so long, so there is only this much I can push out. Okay, so moving on. After you've identified your values, the next thing is understanding your personality, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and understanding your emotions. Very, very important. Now, you want to know what you are good at, you want to know the qualities that you possess, you want to know whether they are positive, the positive ones, because obviously nobody's perfect. You want to know the positive ones, you want to know the negative ones, you want to know the things that you really find difficult doing on your own. You want to know, what people are have probably complained about in the past. It helps, and you will know why it helps later on. So we're talking about identifying your strength. Now, one of the ways to identify your strength is doing a self-reflection. That is, you ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing the most? What do I do with ease? I don't see it as so much stress, even though it may be strenuous, but I don't see it as work. What are those activities that I feel energized and fulfilled while doing? Most of the time, those areas are where your strength lies. Now, you should also consider past successes. What are the things that you have achieved in the past? What skills, what traits did you apply? What did you use in those situations? What helped you overcome that challenge? You ask yourself. Now, you could also reach out to friends and families and colleagues to, let them identify, okay, what are those things that you see about me that you see as a strength? What are those things that you appreciate about me? Some people may tell you, you are very inquisitive, and that helps us. You wanting to know helps us when we're trying to make a research. That could be your strength. It could be that you are a planner. Like, if they give you anything, you are ready to break it down to the list, and nothing can ever go wrong, because the way you analyze that situation, even the people sef will be confused because they did not know that so much detail can come out of it. So when you ask people these questions, What did they think your strengths are? What are those things that they see? Now, by the time you've asked one, two, three people, you look at their responses. What is that one or two or three things that are reoccurring? What are those things that are reoccurring? You need to ask yourself. Sorry about that. So, what are those things that are reoccurring? You need to, ask yourself those questions. What are those things that are happening over and over and over and over again? When somebody says something, one, two, three, and you realize that, oh, I think this is a strength. Because, when one person says something and that person says something and they did not have a meeting, you know that, yes, it's true. Now, when you've done that, you may want to take a step further by taking strength assessment. There are a lot of assessment tools online. I have one myself that I work with. You help you identify your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay, so you could go online, or if you want to reach out to me to do that, feel free. It only cost you just something small. So it contains, a list of um traits to help you identify your strengths, okay, and also your weaknesses too, and to help you know your personality, whether you're melancholic, whether you're phlegmatic, whether you're choleric, or whether you're sanguine. Okay, so you could also take an assessment for that. Now, also, when you want to also identify your weakness, the same way that you ask for feedback from people is the same way you also ask people. That is apart from when you are being honest with yourself, because before you even go about to ask other people, you have to be very honest with yourself. Ask yourself, true, true, what is this thing that's really hard for me to do? What are those areas that you realize that you struggle when you want to do them? What are those things that you find very difficult starting? Like when the idea comes, you are very reluctant to do it. What are those areas that you often seek help? You realize that those particular areas may serve as a weakness to you. It does not make you less human. It just means that you don't have a strength in that area. Now, the same way that you ask people, like I said, when you realize that one, two, three people are mentioning a particular thing, you need to look into it. You see that that may be a serious weakness that you have. Okay, and ensure that before you're asking people about negative feedback, ensure that there are people that you trust. Don't just go and be asking anybody before somebody will use mouth and finish you, because it's not everybody that knows how to give constructive feedback and criticism. Some people are terrible at it, so know who you reach out to. And another thing is, another way to observe or identify your weakness is observing your emotions. Observing your emotions. When you feel frustrated and stressed and anxious, what is going on? What are those times? What happens at those times that you feel really frustrated? And you know, when the idea of that thing comes, you're already confused. They have not even started, though, you're already confused. You realize that there are some people that are not good at planning. They rather give somebody to plan and then they execute. It's not as if they are very useless. No, it just means that they don't have a strength in planning. And there's somebody out there that plans very well, but may not know how to execute what he or she has planned. So you see that strengths and weaknesses vary across individuals. That's one thing you should understand. Okay, no two persons are the same 100%, even twins. So strengths and weaknesses vary. Understand yourself, know what are those things that you don't have motivation doing. Somebody has to push you before you do those things. Okay, then you know the traits that you are not so 100% in. Some people may be really lousy. Some people may be careless. Not that they just like to misplace things, but if you give them this pen like this now, they can drop it and forget it there. That may be somebody's weakness may be memory. Not that you're a dullard or something, but maybe you know that you easily forget something. It may serve as a weakness to you, but then it's not left for you to now know how to manage it. For instance, if you are the type that may forget certain details, maybe somebody has to tell you something one to three times before the thing sticks, you will know that you'll be taking notes most of the time, right? So that you can manage that weakness that you have. So, one now that you've understood your strength and your weakness, what should you do? There should be continuous learning. Now, when you've acknowledged your weakness without judging yourself, you should be committed to learning and improvement. Weaknesses, they are not fixed. They can, let's just say they can result to be areas for growth. I'll give you an instance. I noticed that I can easily forget a particular detail at a point in time. Maybe I say, I want to do this thing. Oh. Another thing will come up, I'll forget the first one. Or an idea may just come up in my head, very brilliant. Okay, I want to do this as a video, or I want to teach about this. I will go and be thinking of another thing, I will forget. Now, what did I notice that that is a weakness for me? Did I start saying, this girl don't know anything, no, notice in your head, you too, they forget? No. You accept yourself that way, then you try to work on it or manage the situation. So you see that when I carry my phone, I have my notepad. I must not carry barrier and paper everywhere. So when something drops in my mind, in order for me not to forget, I write it and I drop my phone. So later I may forget, what is that thing I wanted to do? I go to my notepad and I see it and I remember and I move on. So it's one thing to understand yourself, know your strength, know your weakness, and work on yourself if need be. If it's something that can be changed, seek for strategy, seek for help, go consult a therapist or whatever you need to manage that situation so that you'll be guided on how best to navigate through it. Okay, now after that, you should know how to balance your strength and your weakness. Leverage on your strength. You know what you are good at, put it into use. Don't allow anybody to look down on you. Put it into use. Use them to build your personal life. Use it to build your professional life. Manage your weaknesses. I've talked about it. Devise strategies to manage it or reduce it to the barest minimum. Now, we've talked about strength and weakness, talked about value. Now, the other thing, time is going. The other part is learning to say no to negative upward comparison. Now, in psychology, we have upward comparison, we have downward comparison. Upward comparison is when you compare yourself to people that are better than you. Downward comparison has to do with when you compare yourself to people that you feel you are better than. Now, I said say no to negative upward comparison. What does that mean? When you compare yourself with other people that you perceive are more successful than you or better off in some way, and as a result you now feel worse about yourself, that is a negative upward comparison. Sometimes comparisons are healthy, they help you to keep pushing, it keeps you motivated, but the minute you start feeling worse about yourself, there is a problem. So you may have identified your strength, you may identify your weakness, you now start seeing your weakness as one kind thing that has made your life feel very miserable. And then you start comparing yourself to people that have those your weaknesses as strength. And then you start feeling bad about yourself. No. What if your strength is that person's weakness? You never know. So you should focus on yourself and say no to negative upward comparison. One way to do that is practice positive affirmation. You consciously repeat positive statements or phrases to yourself with the intention of promoting your self-confidence, your self-esteem, motivate yourself and build a positive mindset. So practice positive affirmation. Tell yourself, I am capable, I am beautiful, I am worthy of love and respect. I can achieve my goals. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I am not a dullard. I am not a disgrace in my family. I am not a setback. You tell yourself these things on a regular basis. You tell yourself every morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, you tell yourself you are beautiful, you are favored, you are gracious. Speak words into yourself. Sometimes you may be saying this thing, the thing is doing you as if this thing I'm not, whether you believe it or not, keep saying it. There's something that word does. When you confess it, you believe it in your heart. Even when we're talking about salvation, the Bible says confess with your mouth and believe in your heart. So you have to say it out loud. Sometimes you don't even say it to your mind. It's better you say it out loud. Hear yourself saying those words. and then you believe it. Because sometimes at first when you are just saying it, you may not really believe it at that instance, but believe it. First of all, confess it, keep confessing it until you start believing it. And when you start believing it, you start seeing yourself as what you are saying. I just hope that what I'm saying is making sense. Okay, so it goes a whole lot. And now, after you've done this, the next thing to do is to create a personal development plan. This will lead us to the part 3, which we'll do next week. Well, we are trying to build yourself, you are trying to strengthen your strengths, you are trying to address your weaknesses, you are trying to discover your purpose, you are trying to identify your passion, and then you set goals to be better. That is the next thing to do. Because at that point, you now know what self-worth is. You've identified your strengths and your weaknesses. You've known your values. You've known how to manage your weaknesses. Then it's now time to figure you out. What are you passionate about? Where is your... Let me not go into that. That is for next week. Okay? So please, sometimes you need to take a step back from a lot of noise. You need to take a step back from even relationships and figure you out. That is the best thing you can do to yourself, because marriage is the union of two whole people. So this is someone that has figured himself out and someone that has figured herself out, and they come together, join their values and goals to form something big and beautiful. Okay, so figure you out first. That is it. So next week we're going to be talking about identifying and, you know building your passion, identifying and setting up your goals, so that you can focus. So please stay tuned. I'll round this video off here because I don't want it to be long. I didn't want it to be so long, but I'm praying and hoping that you're able to learn one or two from this. If you like this video, please do well to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a long ride, 20 something minutes, but I just want you to understand and learn from these things. Okay, you can be better than what you think you are right now. There is a whole lot ahead. There's a very bright future ahead of you, but you need to be confident and take action. Okay, so see you next week. We'll be handling discovering your passion, and then we'll talking about setting goals also. So I think I'll just draw the curtain here. Have a wonderful day. Okay, so please, I would if you are looking for the video, maybe you didn't see the last video, you can go to my profile and check, or I will drop the link of the last video in the description so that you can always go back and watch it, so that you can follow up on the series. Okay, this is day 2. Sorry, this is week 2. So stay tuned. Okay, have a wonderful day. And at least I forget, if you want to reach out to me for counseling, feel free to email me, and the email address is amiablecounsel@gmail.com, or you call or message me on WhatsApp with the number 0815 128 6532. Okay, so I will display it on the screen so that you can see it. Please feel free to reach out. No man is an island, and coming for counseling does not make you less human. It just means you are looking for or seeking someone else's view on a certain issue, and you just need clarity. Okay, so stay blessed.